I want to begin by asking a question this morning. Who is God for you? How do you call God? How do you name God? And with the Trinity, how do you refer to Jesus? How do you name Jesus? How do you call Jesus? And also the Spirit. Who is the Spirit for you? This is Mission Alive. I'm Roger from the MSC Mission Office. These are important questions because it's not just a matter of translation. When you go as on mission to other people in another culture, you have to translate. But how do you translate something into a language if they don't have that thing in the language? Like these days in many places, like electricity. There's no word in any Papuan languages for electricity, so they simply call it electricity. And so many other things from the German, the English, the French have been taken into the language. But when you're thinking about something like God, you've got to think, what are people's idea about God? Do they have some concept of God? Many people have a great sense of the spirit world, of some great spirit, and the whole spiritual world, which is not the same as ours. And what we're trying to do with the church and with Christianity is to bring the Word of God into the culture so that the people can meet it and embrace it and make it one. And this is important. I've spoken before, a lot of our French priests came to know the culture and the language very, very well. And in a couple of particular places, 2 different languages, there was a major spirit, a big spirit. It was sort of creator spirit, the big spirit. And the French said, no, we can't use that name for God because that was a bad spirit, wasn't a good guy. And this has been a question right down through history. And I mentioned before too, Paul, when he went to the Greeks, he simply used the word in Greek for God, which was Zeus, which later became Deus, which we still hold in Latin as the name for God. The idea was to use the word that the people knew, and then over time you re-educate them, re-catechize them towards what we mean by God. So this is a great question for us. The same as for Jesus, in some of the Papuan languages that are related, Jesus is called Lohia, which means chief. And in some other language it's Lopia, and other related Yobia. They're variations on the same name. It means chief. But interestingly, in their language, that name, Lohia, or Lopia, means good. And the young chief, when he's been initiated, the major chief, a sorcerer, instructs him and says, you remember what your name is, Lopia. And you remember that means good, so you have to be a good person, a good chief, and work for the good of your people. So the word Lopia, Lohia, Yobia, Ovia, has significance. And that's what we call Jesus. And he's been identified as chief, a good chief. And in the Pidgin English, similarly, he's called Big Pala, Lord, big man, big Pala. And the big man has to be the same. He has to work for the good of his people. Otherwise, he's not really a big man. If he's selfish and only works for himself, then he's not really living up to his title. More modernly, Papua New Guinea, one stage, I don't know whether it's still true, there was a song about Jesus, and the singer called him Dust Monkey. Monkey is a word that we use for boys and young men, and dust is the dust. So Jesus is the young fellow in the dust, down in the streets with us. So it's like he's a street man, a street person. identifying with the people. And another one, I heard somebody said, we call Jesus Kux. Kux. Kux is short for Kakana in the Motu language, Kakana. And Kakana means older brother. It can be your older blood brother or your cousin, older cousin brother. So Kux is big brother, big bro. All these things are part of what we do on mission, because that's how we try to bring the good news about Jesus, about God, about the Spirit into the culture and the mind of the people. Thank you for being with us on mission.